How's it going, guys? It's your boy Lieutenant Dan here with another Falcons film breakdown. Today we're going to be breaking down Calvin Ridley. So this is kind of a new to the nest episode, really, to be honest. But let's get straight into it. Before I get really into this video and breaking down Calvin Ridley stuff, I have one message that I need to bring to all of y'all. And it's that myself and another Falcons fan and a Vikings fan have been talking about Calvin Ridley for the past 3 weeks, and have finally come to the determination, even with a small sample size, that the best comparison for Calvin Ridley is Stefon Diggs. And a lot of people are going to begin to get upset about this video, but here, allow me to make my claims and statements. Stefon Diggs is one of the most dynamic wide receivers in this league right now for his position, being used in the slot, slightly on the outside, and can run most of the routes in the route tree effectively and keep his hands on the ball. It's one of the things that makes him incredibly special is exposing space in the middle, finding space in zones, and man-to-man being able to use tricky footwork. And in some cases, you can go take a look at the card at the top of the screen to go check out Vash Lombardi's video. But the nuances of the route tree and the way that wide receivers are working in this form of the NFL has changed the game, completely changed the game. Now it is not a league of how big you are, although that still counts in some cases, but it's more or less how well and fluid you run your routes, and if you have the speed to be able to run those routes. Top line speed, I'm not going to say numbers, but top line speed helps you more, and being able to control that speed. Just having speed is great, but controlling that speed and being fluid with your route running can make you the most deadly wide receiver on the field, and doesn't matter how tall you are. Let's get straight into the film. Calvin Ridley here is going to go across a motion on the play. Going to be used here in the slot. And what you're going to have is regular formation outside of Calvin Ridley. So you're going to have an out route or a sideline route for Austin Hooper at the bottom of the screen. You're going to have Tevin Coleman as a flat route. That's going to come over to Matt Ryan's left. You're going to have Julio Jones doing it up and go. And you're going to most likely have Mohamed Sanu cutting to the inside on a slant or post route. And then Calvin Ridley's just going to find and penetrate this zone. So watch Calvin Ridley here in motion, goes right up in between into the exposed part of the field in the zone and gets the first down. And I can't break this down enough to say that this is exactly what a Stefon Diggs would do. Find that part of the field that is exposed, that there's no one around you, or there's a tight space around you, but you're trying to get that first down. Stefon Diggs does this. Antonio Brown does this. And I'm not putting Calvin Ridley on that level. He's definitely not there yet. He needs to work on his catching. He needs to work on his familiarity with Matt Ryan and being able to run his routes effectively against press coverage, to be able to get off that press coverage. But this type of instance here is what makes Calvin Ridley deadly, is being able to control speed, run up, and do a little bit of a move here to find, basically not to have your route interrupted, but to run through a guy and find that space and then condense, boom, catch the ball. One of the things that I feel is a criticism for Steve Sarkisian and Dan Quinn is not going to the hot hand. And I hear that from a lot of Falcons fans, defensively and offensively. When somebody is doing well, feed them the ball. And then game plan around that to open up the other guys with that hot hand. When you have a guy that's a hot hand, more defenders will be on that guy and will open up opportunities for other people. In this particular situation, Julio Jones down at the bottom of the screen, Calvin Ridley at the top of the screen, Mohamed Sanu in the middle. And this was a lot of Mohamed Sanu opening areas of the field to be one-on-one matchups for Calvin Ridley, and then letting Calvin Ridley do his thing, right? Nuance of route running, and being able to actually change the game with the way that his athletic ability can change the game. And the number one things, like I said in my previous clip here, was open Calvin Ridley up by showing the Saints, or any team at all, a combination of plays that have beaten them in the past, that they know from tape, and then adding in a wrinkle like Calvin Ridley, an unknown, a variable, weapon X, and you give the Saints something new, and they don't know how to react to it. And then raw athletic gift from Calvin Ridley, which is very Stephon Diggs-like, because this play is very Stephon Diggs-like. Watch. Going to eat up the space with Mohamed Sanu in the middle. Calvin Ridley makes his move to the end zone. And something that he didn't do well in the Eagles game, which is a fade route, one-on-one. He's able to do well here. And I'm just going to say, man, Julio getting almost triple covered. I wouldn't say that it's full triple coverage, but you've got a corner and a linebacker on Julio. And then you run another route similar with Mohamed Sanu up the middle. So you've got 4 players on 2 players. And then you're running a mirror route, basically, with Austin Hooper down at the bottom of the screen, with Calvin Ridley making this hard stop, almost completely stopping on the field, and then kicking it back in. And that's excellent control of your body and your speed and your motion. Watch Calvin. And that bite. Ooh. So the Saints decide, all right, we've had enough of your BS, Calvin Ridley. We know your weakness. We've seen it in college. We saw it. We saw it in the first couple of games. We know if we're right up on you in press coverage. We know if we mess with you at the first 5 yards, you can't take advantage of your routes. And they would be correct in assuming such. But we have not yet seen Calvin Ridley do a comeback or curl route. And this is one of those executed plays that, okay, if you're going to play really tight to me, then we're going to run this type of route here. And the crispness and the fluidity of this route is so key, because Matt Ryan stares down Calvin Ridley. Bottom of your screen, Calvin Ridley runs this route up, around, come back, catch that ball. Smartly decides to just go down after he catches this. Look at it one more time. Cutting up the field like he's going to go deep. Matt Ryan just eyeing him the whole time. Matt Ryan throws a little high. I don't like that, but Calvin Ridley still makes the catch. And it's all about, look at this cut here at the end of this route. Boom. Hard cut. I told you, man. If you have the fluidity in your routes, if you have the ability to conquer your own speed, control your own fluidity and routes, to give yourself the opportunity to run all routes with your incredible athleticism and control that athleticism, bottle it up, then you get routes like this where you can fake a guy out, come back, show him something new that he hasn't seen before. One more time, just watch those feet. Calvin Ridley. Bam! Digs that foot in. Hard cut. Come back. Love it. I love this. I love showing guys new things they haven't seen before and gaining some extra yards. Now, you know what you do when you have a dud drive and you need to make an impact play, and you know that Calvin Ridley is very quick. You want to test that quickness, and you want to be able to showcase Calvin Ridley as a deep threat. If you were having trouble with Julio Jones in deep passes, and you know that the Saints are going to continue to respect that Austin Hooper, Tevin Coleman, Mohamed Sanu, Julio Jones setup. If you know they're going to respect that setup, and you know that they have been, I wouldn't say patient or unaware of Calvin Ridley, or that they don't care, but they think that their corner can stick with Calvin Ridley, and I put faith in my defenders to do so. But there's no breakdown for this play other than this corner got absolutely trash burnt by Calvin Ridley just running down the field. There's no other breakdown for this, and I'm only going to show this play twice. Calvin Ridley burns his guy down the field. The options easily could have been taken away had a deeper safety been played. But they respected everything that was around the line of scrimmage and what Austin Hooper and the other guys could bring, Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu. They respected that. And as they should. They don't want to get burnt there. So just watch down at the bottom of the screen. I don't need to talk about it. I feel bad for the New Orleans Saints on this play. And not in a backhanded way. I genuinely feel that the New Orleans Saints did everything that they need to do to make this play into a failure for the Atlanta Falcons. They covered well on Julio Jones. They covered well on Mohamed Sanu. They covered well on Tevin Coleman. They covered well on Austin Hooper. They covered well on Calvin Ridley. And Matt Ryan makes me one of the proudest Falcons fans to say that he's willing to take the risk, potentially take a hit, roll out of coverage, roll out of his pocket, and find somebody open. We've seen this several times, and when Matt Ryan gains that confidence, it's deadly. But we'll watch Calvin Ridley in the slot here and watch him go through this route. Watch him go up and into the end zone after some motion here. Up and into the end zone to the outside. Nobody open. Swings around, circles, and goes to the back of the end zone where there's an open space. That is beautiful. And Matt, pump action, looks, throws. Just beautiful. This is all covered. Look, Mohamed Sanu, bracket coverage. This is all zone, by the way. This is all zone. This is, again, Calvin Ridley can beat the zone. If you play zone coverage, Calvin Ridley will find a spot eventually that's open. Any wide receiver can, but very, very few will utilize their own route, because this isn't a route in the route tree. This is not a route in the route tree. He runs a route from the route tree, and then he creates his own play. I feel like some Falcons wide receivers potentially need to do that in some cases. But look, everybody's covered here. If you dump it off to Tevin Coleman, you're probably getting no yards. If you try to dump it off to Austin Hooper over there, it's not going anywhere. He's covered. This is good zone coverage by the Saints. The Saints do a really good job. Yeah, okay. You can dump it off to Austin Hooper, but then you're coming away with a field goal. And at this point in the game, that's not worth it. You're looking at Julio, and Sanu is now on the ground. You're looking at Tevin Coleman that has crossed all the way across, and there's nothing open. And at the top of your screen, you're seeing Calvin Ridley starting to round off this route that he's made up and get this touchdown. Now, I'm not going to argue the semantics of whether or not this was a touchdown or not, because I feel like his foot was out. That's just my opinion. As a Falcons fan, that's ludicrous. It should just be, yeah, it's a touchdown. But this is rounding a route, going to the back of the end zone, finding the open space, get this touchdown. That's how special Calvin Ridley can be. He runs his route. They play zone. He goes to the back of the end zone. Great throw by Matt Ryan. Great job extending this play. Matt Ryan has boneheaded throws. He really does sometimes. But that's the Matt Ryan I know from 2008. That's the Matt Ryan that can hit you in the back. And this is just creative from Calvin Ridley. This is well played. Any wide receiver can do this, but only smart wide receivers usually do it. Only smart wide receivers will create a play out of nothing. Everybody else just continues to do their routes. Calvin Ridley goes, I'm going to find a space. Try me. I'm going to find a space. I'm going to get around my guy. I'm going to go to the back of the end zone. I'm going to find a space. And that's what he did. Now, Steve Sarkisian had a lot of plays where, again, Mohamed Sanu's the trigger guy. So basically, you're gonna cock that back by having Mohamed Sanu or Julio Jones open up some space to give Calvin Ridley underneath routes, over the top, dig routes, comebacks, curls. And then, of course, Calvin Ridley at this point has created his own run, his own route. And so you're going to see Calvin Ridley come across the screen here. And you're going to see, look at Mohamed Sanu in the slot on the other side. And watch Julio Jones, too. Don't worry about what Calvin Ridley's doing right at this very moment, but watch these two guys do what they do. Watch the two top routes here. Look at all that open space that they created. With Julio going all the way out there, bracket coverage up there, a deep safety, and a corner. And then Mohamed Sanu ate his corner and also ate two linebackers, or a safety linebacker. And you get this pass across the field with Calvin Ridley's speed. That's a first down. 3rd and 6. Let's watch Calvin Ridley now with that space in mind. Coming right across the field on Lattimore. And you get that slant route right across. Austin Hooper's just going to go straight up the field. He's going to drive his guy away. And then Mohamed Sanu's going to stop halfway in the middle of the field on a comeback, and that's going to sit down and stop Calvin Ridley's guy from getting a straight lane to him. It's going to stop the linebacker safety from being able to cut him off as well. And the guy that he's covering is now on his back. So that just leaves this whole open field. Leaves a whole open field that Calvin Ridley can get an easy pass, go across the field, and get a first down. Simplistic stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Simplistic stuff. When you eat guys alive and then you dump it off to an easy pass, Calvin Ridley's very quick. Simplistic stuff. Good play design by Steve Sarkisian, knowing how to utilize Calvin Ridley in a way and still decoy 3 other guys to make the Saints respect. And even though they put one of their better corners on Calvin, the play design allows for Calvin to get open because you're driving one guy up the field and in the way of Lattimore. Lattimore has to widen his pursuit angle. When you widen your pursuit angle, you're taking extra steps. Steps that are not being taken towards the wide receiver. And when you're eating a safety in another corner, you open up that lane. Beautiful. So, guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed this film breakdown, this Falcons film breakdown. If you liked the content that I put up today, definitely go to my channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button to get notified for new content. Definitely go check out the Patreon if you want to continue to help support this channel. Go into the comment section. What do you think about Calvin Ridley? Tell me what you think about these plays. Let me know about the video, if you guys liked it or if you guys hated it. I'm not a big offensive guy. I don't know how to break these plays down truly to their best ability, but I try. And again, let me know what you guys think of the video and think of Calvin Ridley and how he can be used more in this offense and Sarkisian's game plan to open him up. What will he do against the Bengals? And let me know what kind of film breakdowns you guys would like to see in the next video. My name is Lieutenant Dan. This was a Falcons film breakdown. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And check out the rest of the videos that I have in the catalog at the end here. Peace, hair grease, rise up, and stay grounded.